On November 25th, 2024, Russian ruble is trading at 104 rubles and 94 kopecks for 1 American dollar. It's 6 kopecks short of 105 rubles for $1. This is the exchange rate. It's the worst for ruble since March of 2022. And today I will explain what exactly happening with Russian ruble, why it is important, how current devaluing will influence Russian economy, and how Russian people are being cheated and who will pick up the bill at the end. Howdy, howdy, friends. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, you will not find here BS, propaganda, or lies, but will find truth, common sense, and logic, and some emotions too, because I'm a human being after all. This message today will consist of 3 parts. First is talking about Russian ruble. Second is discussing, answering question and participating in the chat. And third, finishing the live stream with a prayer. So, shall we begin? I would like to ask you one thing, and one thing only. When you hear about Russian economy, when you hear about Russia, when you hear, anything, please, do not trust anyone. Do not trust anyone talking about Russian economy. I've heard so many times that experts, real experts, proven experts, and so-called experts telling us that Russian economy was showing a miracle of resilience. It was going strong, despite all the forecasts, despite all the international sanctions. I heard that many times. Don't trust them. Don't trust experts like that. Instead, trust the numbers. Trust the key economic indicators that include GDP, gross domestic product, consumer spending, unemployment rate, key interest rate, inflation, consumer price index, and currency exchange rate. And obviously, make sure that the numbers are honest. In other words, don't trust a word, a single word, of whatever Russian government says. So we're talking of the currency exchange rate, and that's one of the key economic indicators. That's been in the spotlight in a few days in Russia, well, in a few weeks really, because Russian ruble has been losing value like crazy. On November 11th, $1 could buy 95.9 rubles. And today, November 25th, $1 can buy 104 rubles and 96 kopecks. 94 kopecks. Russian currency has nearly lost 10% of its value in 2 weeks. And if we zoom out a bit, look at longer period of time, we will see even more drastic numbers. Ruble has lost 23% in the last 3 months. Nearly a quarter of its value. Can you imagine that? Just analogy. You have a savings account. And let's say you have $100,000 saved up. And then you wake up 3 months later and all of a sudden you find that you have $75,000 there. How would you feel? This is how Russians are feeling now. Now let's talk about why Russian ruble is losing its value. Value of any national currency is linked to economy's performance. Stronger economy creates products and services that other countries want to buy. Therefore, demand for that country's currency grows. Therefore, currency becomes stronger. Also, many governments, companies, and individuals want to invest into strong, growing economy, and they invest using the country's currency again. And again, demand for such currency grows. Therefore, it becomes stronger. And vice versa. If economy is shrinking, everyone tries to pull out of it, selling the currency, selling the assets, selling everything. Therefore, it weakens and the currency weakens and it loses value. It's not in demand any longer. And Russian ruble is losing value dangerously fast because Russian economy is landsliding. It's under what I call, well, it's experiencing a perfect storm, and I've been talking about it for the past 2 years. Nearly all Western companies have left Russia, Russian markets, due to sanctions or due to their moral codes, because some companies have not been ordered to leave Russia. They have not been, they're still allowed to, but they left due to their morals. Therefore, they closed many of Russian branches, fired people, took the technologies away from Russia, and they stopped selling the products and services in Russia. Russian companies have decreased their international trade significantly, and direct international economic sanctions have been applied on Russian companies. And not only companies, but the entire sectors of Russian economy, including financial sector. Most are avoiding Russian ruble like plague. It is toxic these days. Therefore, the demand for ruble is falling. There is also another reason for Russian ruble losing value, and it's even more important than supply and demand. Russian currency has ceased to be fiat, freely traded where price is set by the market, by the invisible hand of the market. Russian ruble was fiat currency before, until July 2024, when Moscow currency exchange was hit by the American sanctions, the sanctions of American Ministry of Finance. Since then, Russian ruble to dollar exchange rate is set by the Central Bank of Russia, and it uses its own mysterious, mystical algorithms that no one really knows. I think that there are no algorithms. I think that the numbers are decided in a different way, but that's what do I know. Now, I'd like to move on to who loses and who wins from cheap ruble. And you'll be surprised. But before I do that, I would like to use this opportunity to thank you again. Friends, thank you for watching me right now. It means so much. Thank you for being members of Inside Russia community. It means so much to me. I'm demonetized by YouTube. The only income I receive right now is through Patreon, Buy Me Coffee, and PayPal. But that's not the most important. What is even more important for me is that you come back every day and watch. You find what I do valuable. You inspire me. You send me feedback. You send me good words, prayers, love. You pray with me every day. So thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Who wins and who loses from the devalued ruble? All lose, right? Cheap ruble is not good. Nope. Wrong. Cheap ruble is very good for manufacturers who sell their products abroad in hard currencies, such as US dollar, for example. They incur all costs domestically in ruble and pay for those costs in rubles and sell for dollars abroad. And let's take one example. There's a company in Russia that manufactures combine harvesters. And it sells combine harvesters domestically in Russia, in the CIS countries, and really all over the world. That company is called Rustelmash, and that is a real case. My father worked all his life in that company. He was in charge of the entire fleet of railroad engines. The manufacturer was so large, it had a mini railroad inside, moving combine harvesters, and my father was in charge of the engines. So Rustelmash manufactured and sold hundreds of combine harvesters to the USA in the past. Not anymore, of course, but in the past. Say a combine harvester costs 10 million rubles to make. And I'll try to use very simple words to make it a very simple example. So one combine harvester manufactured in the city of Rostov-on-Don in Russia costs 10 million rubles. That's about $100,000 at the exchange rate of 100 rubles for $1 American dollar. Now, that combine harvester is shipped to the USA and sold there for $200,000. And that is 20 million rubles in Russia at the exchange rate of $1 for 100 rubles. Then, say, Russian ruble is devalued by 10%, just like what's happened now. And now, the numbers all of a sudden become different. A combine harvester still costs 10 million rubles to produce because all is manufactured domestically and nothing changes in the manufacturing process. All is the same. Materials are manufactured in Russia, paid for in rubles. Salaries are paid in rubles. Indirect costs paid in rubles. Utilities, everything. So prices in rubles don't change. The combine harvester still costs 10 million rubles to produce. And then it is shipped to the United States and it's still sold at the same price, $200,000. But the exchange rate is different now. And the manufacturer takes that $200,000 back to Russia, exchanges into rubles, and now at the exchange rate of 110 Russian rubles for $1. Remember, Russian ruble devalued by 10%. Now it's 110 rubles. 20 million of the past magically becomes 22 million. So the manufacturer earned 2 extra million rubles out of the blue. It appeared out of thin air because the exchange rate. So cheap ruble is good for exporters who sell abroad. But if you watch my videos, you remember that I keep on saying that Russia is manufacturing nearly nothing. Well, it manufactures plenty of weapons, but it's using them now in Ukraine and no one buys them any longer. Other than that, there's nothing. Well, don't forget this one huge thing. Russian economy, bread makers are natural resources. Oil, natural gas, minerals, metals, uranium, wood, and all is exported. They don't manufacture. They rather extract from earth and export, ship all over the world and get paid in dollars or in other hard currency. So large Russian corporations benefit with weak, cheap ruble, right? Not so fast. They would in a normal economy, in a market economy, where they would have a right to sell or keep earned hard currency at will. Now Russian government interferes. It obliges the exporters to sell the government to sell to itself hard currency they earn. And if they need hard currency later, let's say to buy some technology or to buy some materials from abroad, then those companies would have to buy hard currency back from the government at a different rate. That is how Russian companies and Russian people are being cheated. Now, let's look at Russian companies that create products and services. Those big corporations who extract natural resources, they are really controlled by Putin's friends, Putin's servants. It's not real business, okay? That's the privilege of the oligarchs and Putin's friends. Let's take a look at Russian companies, smaller companies, that actually create products and services. To create product or service, or to grow food, let's say, one needs hard currency in today's Russia to buy materials, technologies, components. Like I said, they don't manufacture anything in Russia these days. The more they have to pay to buy hard currency, say US dollars, the higher the costs of production and the higher the prices of their products. Well, let's not go far. Let's take butter. Butter is produced in Russia. The price of butter should not be dependent on the exchange rate, you say. And that is wrong. Because to produce butter, you actually need to buy a lot from abroad. They don't produce their cows in Russia. They buy semen, believe it or not, bull semen from abroad, okay? And they impregnate Russian cows with that bought semen. Then they buy fertilizers from abroad to feed cows. Then they buy medicines, drugs, antibiotics and such from abroad. Then they buy machinery to milk cows from abroad. Then they buy materials to build facilities for cows from abroad. Then they buy trucks that actually transport milk from farmers to dairies, the processing plants, and they buy those trucks abroad. Then they need to maintain those trucks. Then the dairies use foreign-made equipment that needs to be maintained and operated and fixed, and they buy all abroad. And then they use computer programs that they buy abroad. And then they use trucks, they use packaging that they usually buy abroad. And then they use trucks for butter to transport to Russian food stores that they buy abroad. So therefore, you see, the price of foreign materials, foreign made and imported materials is huge. That is why we're seeing Russian butter, supposed to be a domestically made product, which is, but it has a huge, huge part of imported things in it, and the costs go high. That's why the butter goes up on price. And then you take anything, really anything in Russia. Take potato, the same problem. They grow potato in Russia, but so many costs that the farmers incur when they grow potatoes, they must to pay higher costs because everything comes from abroad. The equipment, the seeds, the fertilizers, again, the medicine for soil and things like that. So all comes from abroad. The more they have to pay, the more they have to buy from abroad, the more currency they need, the hard currency, the more US dollars they need. And the more the US dollars they buy, the higher their costs of production and the higher the prices of their products. And people, regular people, they end up paying higher prices for everything. And the thing is, they're paying in rubles. And they earn in rubles in Russia. So no one in Russia wins from cheap ruble except for one entity. Actually, I should say that business in Russia does not win. But Russian government is the entity who wins at cheaper ruble. Vladimir Putin, his friends and associates win. Russian economy still relies on export of natural resources. Like I said, natural resources are bread makers of Russian economy. And there's a constant influx of dollars into the economy. Russian government made the rule for the exporters to sell hard currency they earn to the government. Remember, I told you about that. So Russia still sells oil, not as much as they used to, still sells natural gas, not as much as they used to, still sells some ores and rare metals and so forth, not as much, but still Russia exports and receives dollars. And we see that Russian federal budget is at the deficit right now because military spendings are through the roof. They are catastrophically at record high. Well, the war is costing a lot to the Russian government, and the economy is shrinking at the same time. The war economy is growing, and the government needs more and more money to pay the military-industrial complex. But the rest of the economy, the civic economy, is shrinking. So how to earn more rubles to fill Russian budget? Taxes? Well, if you have companies closing, if you have fewer products created and sold, you have less taxes coming in. So that's out of the question. How do you fill Russian budget to keep the Russian economy afloat? It's a no-brainer. Increase the interest rate, especially it is really easy now to increase it. When the rate is just made up by the central bank. Ruble is not a fiat currency any longer, remember? So set any price you want. At the rate of $1 to 95 rubles for each $1 billion, Russian government receives selling oil, they get 95 billion rubles. And at the rate of 105 rubles for $1 they instantly receive 105 billion rubles for the same amount of oil sold at the same price. Just tweak the exchange rate a little bit. 10 billion rubles out of a thin air. Voila. This is how Russian government is patching up the holes in the federal budget, so it can wage the war longer and longer. So the Russian government can pay for more weapons, more missiles, more tanks to send to Ukraine to kill more Ukrainians. That's what's going on. The results of this policy, well, they'll be real bad. Inflation will be increasing. There's no question about that. More money at the unchanged amount of national product means higher prices for everything and increased inflation. Higher interest rate means that all products and services that are bought abroad and imported that Russians use in everyday life, consumer electronics, clothing, food, furniture, and things like that, at the high exchange rate, they will cost more. The prices will be higher. All that Russia imports, and remember, it imports everything. No manufacturing in Russia. Everything imported will be higher in price, will rise. The price in rubles will rise due to the increased exchange rate. And the central bank will keep on increasing the key interest rate to try to keep inflation down, low, under control. And it is 21% now. If you want to take a mortgage at a Russian commercial bank, you will pay at least 27% annual interest rate. That is if you have a perfect credit score and a large down payment and so forth. And many banks charge more. 27 is the perfect case scenario. Okay? And in a couple weeks, the central bank will increase the key interest rate to 23%. It's pretty much a done deal. Russian economy in this terrible situation right now. And, you know, some economists argue, they say that Russia can end up in an economic situation called stagflation. I say Russia is already at stagflation. And all is due to one man running the show. You got to understand. Russian economy is not managed by the invisible hand of the markets. It's not free. Russian economy, all these things are happening. It's the result of one man. Again, it's one man show. And you know who the man is. And Russian people are on the receiving end. They will be picking up the bill at the end. And the government will fill its budget, federal budget. And the money will come out of the pockets of Russian people. The higher interest rate, the lower living standard of regular Russian folks will be. The high interest rate will be filling up Russian budget more effectively, and that money will be spent on the military-industrial complex. But again, Russian folks will live a much worse life. Living standard will be dropping and dropping and dropping. So in general, Russia's future is looking very bleak and dark. I can even say that it has no future, no good future. Russians have been stolen their future from. And you know what? Russian people have no one to blame. Because when you take no interest in politics and you give power to other people to control your life and make decisions for you, you have no interest in what the government does, then the politics definitely take interest in you. And sooner or later, they start knocking on your door. And that's what's happening in Russia right now. Dollar is at 105 rubles. Knock, knock. Inflation is at 30%. Knock, knock. Freedoms and rights taken away. Knock, knock. We're here. You know, you didn't care about politics. Well, we care about you now. Welcome to Russia's future, where Russian ruble is really rubble. Thank you so very much. It's been my message. I invite everyone to join me in the live stream chat. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Thank you again. Before I turn the live stream chat, I would like to remind you that there are many news come out of Russia every single day, and intensity of news is incredible now. And I select 9 news every single day that I find important, that I find that matter. I put my analysis and commentaries, and I make such news available to patrons of Inside Russia at patreon.com. So if you want to know things about Russia, if you want to stay on top of things about Russia, but you don't know where to look no further. Go to become patron of Inside Russia at patreon.com. I'm going to put the links down below after the stream ends, and you will have everything that you need. Thank you so much. Turn on the live stream chat now, and I will repeat that it is my most favorite part when, I deliver a message and then all of a sudden I see that live stream explodes with people who say hi, who ask questions, who have comments, who start talking to each other. This is my best favorite part of any stream. Yeah, please let me know how you liked this message, and if you did, hit the like button. That'd be nice. I'd appreciate it so much. And I see Dirk. Whoa, Dirk, good to see you. Good Nabend. Thank you for joining. Fantastic. Dirk has been with Inside Russia right from the beginning. First, Dirk was the pillar of Inside Russia. I don't think he missed any video or live stream. And then, he was kind enough to join our moderation team. So thank you for coming back. Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Harry Potman, and Amir Fazat, also moderators. And in case you're here for the first time, these are the best moderators you can find on the internet. So friends, thank you for coming. And the usual suspects, people who come every single time I stream or do a video, thank you as well. You are absolutely awesome and you rock. And if you want me to notice your message or question easier, please put it in all caps and put Inside Russia after that sign. That way YouTube highlights it in orange box and it's much easier to see, just like Lucas did. Have a nice evening, Konstantin. Thank you. Thank you so much, friend. Just like Bob S did. And Sherleaf from Florida. Howdy, friend. So, Tracy Stones, excellent message. Thank you, friend. People, what do you think? Friends, let me know. If you liked what I said, if you liked the message, hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Does wonders for the algorithm. Okay, so let's put all messages. We have about 30 minutes right now, and about it's 42 minutes after midnight in Tashkent, and in about 30 minutes we will start. I invite everyone to finish the live stream with a prayer. Thank you. Radar Cortex from Texas. It's snowing there. No, it's not snowing here. It's actually, I still wear t-shirts every day. I wonder if it snows in Texas. It's snowing in Texas now. But I heard that even if it's snowing in Texas, the snow is bigger and better than in other states. Is that true? Texas Lady 1025, I pray for Russia. Me too. Makes two of us. Thank you. Veldran Savath, is the Kerch Bridge still on fire? So there was nothing in the Russian news, certainly nothing. Let me take a quick look, because if Kerch Bridge is hit, that's major news, No, I'm not seeing anything. Please let me know where you got your info from. That'd be interesting. Kevin J from Ohio, Seika S, Texlahoma Girl, thank you so much. Sam the Legend K, howdy. Is that true that Putin is reverting to paper airplanes because his jets are failing? We'll have to ask Putin about that, But the minute I see paper jets, paper planes flying, I'll let you know. You can be sure of that. From Amsterdam. Drinking wonderful English breakfast tea by Twinings. I still have plenty of that. The second I run out, I'll switch to Taylor's at Harrogate. Also excellent. Terry Carter from Pulaski, Virginia has a question. If the government controls everything in a citizen's life, aren't they slaves? That's a rhetorical question. I think you know the answer. It's one of the things I don't understand about Russians. They are giving up the freedoms themselves. When I call a Russian in Russia and I ask, "Well, have you heard about the interest rate? Have you heard about this and that?" And the answer usually is, sigh. What can I do? There's nothing I can do. It's the government, it's not me. I have no power whatsoever. They're not fighting, they're not standing up, they're not even trying to use their rights as citizens. They've given up. They think that they have powerless. They don't control anything. And in my eyes, it is slavery, yes. Just Terry, so are you saying that high interest rates are good for the Russian government, okay? Terry, I've been, I was trying to say that for like 15 minutes, yes. I was trying to make it as easy as possible, but it's a very complicated topic, I understand. Dirk, thank you so much for reminding everyone. Please stay away from from the U.S. politics. This is not the place to discuss U.S. politics. There are plenty of other places, not here, not inside Russia. This is about Russia, about the influence of, about what is happening inside Russia and how Russia influences other countries. That's pretty much it. Sherleaf, I hate the idea of currency trading in a scenario like this, but theoretically, would a shoebox of rubles be good investment for grandchildren? No, 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 no. You know, what could be a good investment, but I don't know. But there's a possibility, and I don't know how probable is that. Let's say an apartment in Moscow. Perhaps in 40 or 50 years from now, it's going to cost lots of money. If Russia switches to the path of light and Russian economy, Russia would be accepted and forgiven by everyone, okay, and then Russian economy would be on the way up and it would take lots of time, okay, but I mean, Russia still is a very natural, rich country in natural resources, right? And this future, it's just not tomorrow, not day after tomorrow, but in a couple generations, perhaps there is a future. So, or land that you can buy in Russia, that could be an investment for grandchildren, or or a house, or things like that. But then the question is, how safe will be your property if you buy it in Russia? Right now, Russian government is preparing a set of laws that will allow the government to steal properties of those who have left Russia. That's it, just make it legal. So you buy a property or an asset there right now, how safe? Will you be able to keep it? That is the big question. So investment in Russia right now is a very risky, risky operation. Daryl, good to see you from USA, Georgia. Thank you, friend, for coming. Wonderful state. Indiscreet one from Sweden just arrived. Well, you're just in time. Texlahoma girl. Texlahoma. Are you from Oklahoma or from Texas or from both? Thank you so much for good words. Jones Rames, good to see you. You're never behind, friend. If you come at the end of the stream, trust me, in my books, you are right on time. Frank in Texas, howdy. The pillar of Inside Russia, the person who's been with us since probably the day one, when I had like 25 subscribers and 5 views per video. So thank you very much, Frank. Weldon Savath, is the carriage bridge damaged still? Well, please give me the sources. I have not heard of it being damaged lately. Dale Musser, thank you so much. Angela McNaugh, howdy. Stuzar, I hope I get to live and see peace in Europe again. Me too. Me too. I like Europe very much. I like Europeans, fantastic people, and Europe is such a wonderful place. My friends spent 10 years in Czech Republic, living in Prague. I visited them frequently. I visited most of European countries. Just this fantastic place. Arndt Began, I give it till middle of next year. Then latest comes the collapse. What is the collapse? That's what we need to describe the collapse. What is the characteristics? What are the characteristics of the collapse? Because what you understand of collapse might not be the collapse for Russian people. Okay, I think that middle of next year, Russian people will live much worse, much less comfortable, less pleasant lives. That's for sure. That I can guarantee you. We, can we call it the collapse? I don't know. David Porter, thank you so much for coming, friend. I'm sending love to you and your family and everyone in Chernovtsi. Please forgive us. It's fantastic to see you. Thank you. Crusader Damien, wow. Long time no see. The best questions and comments come from Crusader Damien. Thank you for coming. Just want to say we appreciate it. Well, please come more often and ask your questions and make your comments. I really miss them. Tamika Smith, thank you so much. Andrew from South Africa, good to see you. Derek Martinez, I'm struggling to deal with alcoholism. Please pray for me. I will do so. Hang on. I'm sorry to hear that. I pray for all addicted every single day, and I'll pray for you specifically, Derek. So put your name down. Sending love your way, friend. Faith Russard, howdy. Good question from Elsha. How bleak the future seems you paint. Putin manages to keep his powers, so it seems to me. Well, so far he has held his power. So far, he's still the strongest wolf in the pack. He came awfully close to losing power in the summer of 2023. But he managed. He managed to come back on top. Okay, and I'm still amazed. He is a very smart, very sly person. Very. Anyway, how bleak the future seems you paint. I think it's bleak. I think the longer Putin stays at power, I think the longer the war continues. You see, Elshed, there are many components of this bleak future. There is a social component, there's economic component, there's cultural component, there is scientific component. Russia is falling apart in all of them. Let's take just one. How many people have been fighting in the front lines in Ukraine? I think it's safe to say a million. Somehow, perhaps in and out, on and off, but million have been involved, and probably will be even more. Imagine million Russian men broken by the war who killed innocent people, okay? Imagine them coming back and living with that. that is something that will destroy Russia, destroy Russian society. And that's just one part, okay? Russia will be paying reparations. I don't know when, but I'm sure that in the future it will be. Okay, and that's going to be a huge block on the economy. That's number two. Russia is not going to be a part of the international community for a very long time. That's number three. Russia is going to be going on dry for the technologies. The international sanctions will be working for a very long time. It's easy to implement them, but it's really difficult to lift them. Okay, Russia has lost nearly all its science. Russia has lost. They're killing the education system. They need more grants. They need more soldiers. They don't want kids to go and study at the universities. No, they want them to go to factories to sign up to go to the war. That to me, that is the bleak future. That's my point of view. Andrew Gordon, one thing, K. Russia produces massive amount of fertilizer because of its cheap natural gas. One of the major exports. They sell a lot of Brazil, for instance. I know, and that's called mineral fertilizers. Okay, but then Russia does not produce such things as additive for foods for animals. And I call it probably not right, but I call it fertilizers as well. Something that helps animals grow. Okay, something that needs specific plants grow. Russia does not produce that. Russia does not produce medicine for animals. Russia doesn't, well, produces not, it does produce some medicine for people, but not, it lacks so many foreign drugs right now and so forth. But you're right about mineral fertilizer, and that's a large export. And the company that, actually, I've been to a couple plants, used to be a client of us, a company called Eurochem. Yeah, they wanted to buy a couple power plants. Ria from Texas. Again, I heard everything is bigger and better in Texas, huh? And I think it's true. Elgard, do you have any info if black market USD in Russian ruble rate differs from official one? I remember in Poland in the 80s, black market rates were crazily different from banks ones. Good question, thank you. First of all, there is no black market right now because you can still easily sell and buy American dollars and any currency at Russian banks. But Russian banks set their own prices. It's not black market, but it's official bank's rate. And bank can charge you anything. And of course, you cannot go and buy Russian ruble, American dollar, and pay with Russian rubles at the rate that is set by the central bank. No, no, no. You will pay more, higher. Not much, a little bit, but that's going to be higher. So the black market will appear if and when the Russian government actually forbid commercial banks to sell American dollars or buy American dollars. That's when the black markets appear. In Soviet Union, there was a black market, I remember, and official rate was like if you were going abroad, you had special papers from the KGB, and you could go to a commercial bank and buy $1, I think, on either 30 or 60 kopecks. So basically, if you 3 rubles would buy you $10, something like that. But if you needed dollars and you weren't going abroad, and it was not official, you didn't have any papers from the KGB, Then you'd have to find certain people, and then they would sell you $1 for 6 rubles. That was the rate. So again, right now there's no black market, but Russian commercial banks sell for more than the official rate. Right now it varies 1 ruble more or so, plus give or take, plus minus. Johnny O says conscription US politicians' children to Ukraine front lines. I don't quite understand what you mean by that. Please explain. Dmitry Shagin. What can you tell me about Orthodox Church connection with Putin? What can I tell you? I don't know. What would you like to hear? Vladimir Putin, well, Orthodox Church is part of the state now, and it's supporting the powers, and it's supporting Vladimir Putin, and it's, it considers Vladimir Putin the czar, given to Russia by God to rule Russia. That's kind of the message that I'm getting. Of course, they haven't said it officially, but that's the message that Patriarch gave us when Vladimir Putin was inaugurated to become the president of Russia for the 5th time. And after the official procedure, he went to a church in the Kremlin, and the Patriarch gave him a speech, and that's what he said, just that. And, France, comment ça va? Clairon Tessier, thank you very much for coming. Merci beaucoup. 2 minutes to midnight. I'm pretty sure Putin has no reflection. That'd be nice to check, by the way. Marquis Nell, thank you so much from this flag is very small on my screen. I can't tell which one it is. Another stream being ignored. How irrelevant am I? I think the future will be bleak for all over the world, to be honest. What makes you say that? Royal Oak? You know what? If you look at the history of humankind, we definitely go through ups and downs. And if you look at the 100 years ago, we were going through a big down, but then there was a up, and then everything in the world goes in cycles. And now it's a difficult cycle, but I'm pretty sure that we will prevail. We will come out on top. I'm not sure about Russia, but I definitely have faith in you. I have faith in the United States of America. I have faith in the European countries, in the UK, in France, in Germany, in Spain, in Italy, in Australia. I think that everything's going to be fine and great, and we're going to have great lives. Well, at least you will have great lives. Christian Kruse, good to see you. Long time no see. What will make the Russian people revolt? I don't know. That's a good question. Not much. Price of eggs? No. Potatoes freezing because of bad infrastructure? Definitely not the price of potatoes. Potatoes have gone up 67% since January of 2024. Do you see Russians revolting because of that? I don't. They will just eat less potatoes, that's all. And they will complain a lot, that's for sure. Freezing because of bad infrastructure, that's something that can move Russians to go and protest. But what happened last winter, a lot of Russians actually went outside. They started making fires in big barrels, metal barrels. But the thing is, they weren't protesting. They were making videos begging Vladimir Putin to help them. Some even stood on their knees asking Putin for help. That's not protest. So we'll see what happens this winter. Um, you know, Roland, other trusted numbers about consumption of medicaments in Russia against pain, depression, also alcohol. I know that there are proven numbers about antidepressants. Last year, the consumption of antidepressants went up a great deal. I don't recall the numbers, but like 100%, even more. I know that Russians have started drinking more. Hard liquor price sales are rising. Unfortunately, I have not seen the statistics of painkillers. Okay, so but it's very interesting. Something that I it's very interesting. I'll keep my eyes open for that. The untouchable. How far is Russia from another revolution? Far, far. I don't see any signs of people getting close to revolting. Six more fallen out of windows in Russia last weekend. Lex Luthor, where do you get your information from? Please let me know. Why is interest a moneymaker but taxes aren't? D, taxes are still is still the moneymaker. Taxes definitely bring a lot of money into Russia's federal budget. The thing is, the tax base is shrinking. Russian government cannot rely solely on taxes from individuals. People earn less. Their living standard is lowering. Okay, the companies are closing down, so therefore they will not be paying taxes. The companies that stay open, they earn less money, and that's one way to fill Russia's federal budget. Another way is to take the interest rate and to create much more money mess in exchange for dollars that are taken from abroad as a payment for Russian exports. Okay, these are different tax revenues, the federal budget revenues, taxes, and interest rate. Well, interest rate still creates more taxes, but in a different way. In a way, when government takes money from large companies that extract and export oil abroad. Okay, that's the best explanation I can give you. Veldran Savath. There's a rumor from England saying Vladimir Vladimirovich has been dead since October 26. Of which year? 2003 or 2004? 2023 or 2024? It's actually, if you mean 2023, then I discussed it a lot last year, but this time. I believe that he's still alive and he's well, because if he wasn't, then if he really was dead and there was a double acting as Russian president, then they would try to replace that double with a successor, with someone legit, as soon as possible. It's been 12 months and, Putin is still at helm. So I think that's him. I don't think it's he's dead. Terry Carter, could Putin be more of an enemy to Russia than the West? I don't think the West is the enemy to Russia. I think Putin and his friends are real enemies to Russia and Russian people. Look at the damage they have done to the country. Look at the damage they have done to Ukraine. Look, I mean, how many dead Russians there are who were killed in the front lines? A friend of Russia could do that? I don't think so. Texas lady, about 1,200 Russians die daily. I don't know. That I've discussed that before. No one knows. Well, the Russian armed forces know, but I don't know how to prove that number or not. Um, George Rames said Constantine's audience is getting bigger. Was actually shrunk from early August. Then it was big then, but then I was demonetized, and then it started. YouTube started promoting me, demoting me because I'm demonetized, and then I wasn't doing much for 1 year when I had Bell's palsy. That was a pretty big blow. So the audience is actually, it was shrinking. Now it's kind of stabilized. Ferrari guy, if Putin stroked out 5 minutes from now, would anything really change politically? It seems there is little to replace the current ideas. Um, I think there would be a crossroad, and one way someone like Putin would succeed in. But still, you gotta understand, Putin has built the vertical of power. He has been building it for 24 years. He is the leader. He is the judge between the power groups. He controls everyone. Everyone is afraid of him. If someone else comes, that someone else will have to prove himself. And it's going to be a mighty difficult job because there will be a lot of people against that person, lots of power clans. Okay, that's one way. Another way is someone would succeed him and all of a sudden, like instantly, would turn to the West and say, hey, it's not our fault, it's Putin's fault, it's him. And that would be a lot of finger pointing, just like it was with Stalin. Oh, look what he did. We didn't know. Of course, if had we known, of course we wouldn't have done that. Okay, things like that. Oh, please, let us be part of. Let us go back to our families go back to Miami and Nice and Paris and London, and unfreeze our assets, and we'll do anything you ask us. That could also be a possibility for Russia. That'd be a huge fight. That's what I'm absolutely sure of. BT, can the economic decline spur big unrest in Russia? Russia has a tendency to endure it with black market and corruption in the past. Now, BT, I think that for a long time, Russians would be quiet. That they would be suffering, but you gotta understand, Russians are professional sufferers. They're used to it. And I have a suspicion that many Russians actually like suffering. I can't explain why they're enduring what they're enduring now. Okay, so there wouldn't be unrest for a very long time, but then in quite a long time, it would get so bad economically. Then unrest would be possible. Look what happened in the USSR. Decades of decline in the economy, and only in 91 the volcano erupted, the country erupted, people came to the streets. I think that is a possible scenario. Friends, I think it's time to finish the live stream. Um, Andreas, have a good night. Johnny O, good to see you. BT, I also want to know if Putin will use the nukes. Please watch my yesterday's stream. I answered that question. Thank you, Lorna. Couple more questions, and that's it. Ilta-Sanomat News, Finland. Lex, I'll have to check that, but I doubt it. Special Operations Executive. Surely Putin is in the final stages of his presidency life now. Surely there are other powerful people that can take him out. He's still strong. He still enjoys the support of, different clans. As soon as he gets weak, they'll take him out. I thought it was going to happen last year after Prigozhin's mutiny. But you know what? Again, he came out on top. He came back powerfully. He proved that he's still the strongest wolf in the pack. And that amazed me. I was very surprised, unpleasantly surprised. I thought he was getting done. So we'll see what happens next. Friends, thank you so very much for coming today. Thank you. I would like to invite everyone to finish this live stream with a prayer. If you're religious, if you're not religious, also pray with us. Call it a different name. We are praying for people. We're also sending people good wishes, good vibes, good energy. Call it whatever you want. To me, it's the same thing. So please join us. Thank you so much. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables and giving roofs over our heads. Thank you for our families and the loved ones. Thank you for surrounding us with people who love us and who we love. Thank you for our children. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads peaceful and safe. Please give us wisdom to raise our children in a way that when they grow up, they will never participate in any wars. They will only love each other and make this world a better place. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, please help Ukraine. Please stop the bloodshed. The country desperately needs peace. It needs quiet life. People need happiness. People need relief. Please help every single Ukrainian who has been affected by this terrible tragedy, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. Please help my country, Russia. Assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords. Have Saint Michael lead them. Send your army down to this earth to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country, who we know by their names and by their faces. Send them where they belong, to hell, and have your angels come to this earth and help good Russians to manage the country, to run the country, to make it loving, peaceful, and respecting. Dear Lord, please send everyone who is traveling as safe travels. Send everyone who is seeking for asylum help. Send safety to everyone who is in high waters and danger. Please help single mothers and fathers who are struggling raising their children, trying to make ends meet. Please help all those who are helping Ukrainians and help those Ukrainians who are currently under attacks from Russian missiles. Please send them safety. Dear Lord, please help everyone who needs your help, the addicted, the sick, the hungry, the cold, the jobless, the homeless, the depressed, the ones who are crying, the ones who are hurting, the ones who are betrayed, the ones who are losing their faith, the ones who are losing abandoned and alone. Please reach out to every person in need and touch their heart and let them know that you are still with them, You have not left them. You still love them. You still watch every single step they take. Please help everyone who is in need. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to have this community and to pray together. Thank you for everyone who is praying right now or simply watching us pray. Answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Dear Lord, I would like to ask you for some people who need your help. They are Derek Martinez, who is fighting alcoholism. He needs help. Renate, Janice, Ann Larson and her daughter Hannah, Jeffrey S. and the family, Alex, Mark, Tom W., J.R. McKim, Gabing with Gary, Lisa Kumrian, Harry and his family, Terry, Carter, John, Linda Trombley, Paula W., Dennis, Jason, Susie Mailer, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Dave, Don, Darla, George Ruberty, Pamela, Meta Spencer, David Porter, his family, and everyone who is in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron, Liz Dumbrell, Koshkin Dome, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra, Joseph, Melissa, Jodes, Greg, Millie, Philip, Eileen, Highwayman, Victor, Pamela, Holy Bee, and please help the children who have been misplaced from Ukraine. Please help them return to their families and find their parents. Thank you so much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Friends, thank you for coming. It's my pleasure to see you. It's honor to have you as the community. You're awesome and you rock. I would like to make a very good stream tomorrow so you enjoy again. Thank you. Please come back and check it out. And before I sign off, I'd like to ask you as usual, say out loud with me, as loud as you can, the following. Carthago delenda est.